Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Power Spike here with dGon alongside Dom and Jamada. It is slightly delayed thanks to some tiebreakers happening this week and some scheduling issues. But either way, it gave us a little bit more content for us to consume. Hope y'all are doing well at home, and we're really excited to announce that we are finally opening the Last Free Nation merchandise stop. All y'all been asking for it, so you can head on over to lastfreenation.shop to support our network and your favorite shows. The big piece that is in here, affordable, limited edition, the Founders Edition t-shirt, only available for a limited time. Each shirt is printed out with a unique number on the sleeve based on when you place your order. And the earlier you purchase, the lower the number that you get. And we will eventually, at some point, stop selling the Founders Edition. So head on over and check that one out. We've got some joggers, desk mat, mugs, a keycap keychain with a functional Last Free Nation keycap, and foreplay poster, just in case if you're one of those moviegoers. So you see the boys wearing their merch. I'll be getting mine here in Korea in just a little bit. So again, support your favorite shows on Last Free Nation directly by purchasing our brand new merchandise at www.lastfreenation.shop. Shirts, joggers, desk mats, and more. We ship worldwide with free shipping in the United States on all orders up to $60 or more. Thank you so much for all of you that have been here on this journey with us from day one. And now you can rep it just like all of us do. All right, y'all. It's time to jump into everyone's favorite update series of a team owner in the SAC tab. All right, so this week's SAC Tap includes the LAN that maybe wasn't the best. You know, Jamada wasn't able to make it because he had a wedding, and might have been a little bit better. It felt like just a tough loss here for the boys. Dom, why don't you let us know how that series went against Los Fortones?
I mean, to be honest, I think it's like pretty expected result. I saw that we were like 7-1 underdogs before the series even started.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's expected, right? Like that you have a bunch of people that have like, you know, won an LEC or like got close to, well, I guess only one person won LEC, but you know, like you have players that have done really well before. In the top level, our players have not really played on stage, like a stage like this before ever. So it was just tough. It was just like a game that, just even from the beginning, it felt like we were just like we got off on the wrong foot. Like game one was super bad. Felt like people were nervous. Then people started settling into the game later on. You know, we saw how that ended up going for the boys. Game 3 was a massive throw, but that's kind of been one of the things that we've had issues with all year, has been just throwing like super winnable games. So I would say, even though it sucks, it's kind of an expected result. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just about like the experience. Like we got to compete on a big stage. It was pretty good overall in terms of that. So can't complain too much. Obviously, I wish we won that game 3 at least, but it was, we at least made it significantly farther than we did last split. So still a win in my book.
Positive ownership talk, giving him the carrot and not so much the whip here. What was the biggest surprise, I guess, about your team, about the boys with the LAN event?
I think it just took us so long to like realize how we wanted to like fight, really. Like it felt like we were like very nervous to fight at the beginning. So it took a while for us to like settle into like, oh shit, like we're actually gonna have to like play the game, you know? Like we can't just like sit here and do nothing and win, you know? We actually have to fucking do stuff. So it was a little bit surprising what our mentality was going in, because I mean, going in, we're obviously big underdogs for a reason. Like they're supposed to be significantly better than us. So I would have liked to see us like fight more earlier on. That was kind of what I was hoping for.
All right, Jamada, you didn't get to see it live, but you got to see it afterwards. what were some takeaways here?
There weren't really many takeaways, mate. I spent the entire weekend being happy I fucked off the Berlin instead of going to the LAN to watch 2-3-0.
Bro, that LAN, I gotta say, NLC is like such a joke. Like the production, like everything was like pathetic. Like it was actually just pathetic. It took like an hour and 20 minutes to start the first game. Like there's audio problems, like echo. I mean, it was just amateur hour. It was disgusting. Like I couldn't like imagine it going much worse from like a production side.
The funniest shit was when you were like, all right, so we're going to get into the game and the pause should be coming. And it didn't like roll up for like the first 10 seconds. And you're like, maybe it's up. There it is. Like, it was just so, it was so.
I know how that shit works, bro. I know how that shit works. I can smell incompetence a mile away. Like, I'm just like, this shit is just going to be ass. And like, it was just ass. Like,
to provide a little bit of insight, because I've been told after the fact, and I don't know how much of this I should really even say, but I'm just gonna.
Yeah. Throw him under the bus, Jamada.
Let him know, Jamada.
Apparently, the sound guy there didn't want to do a sound check. Now, dGon will know how bad that is because he's worked on a broadcast. Dom, it's basically like going like.
I've worked on a broadcast before.
I get, you have, right? So like. Yeah. He didn't want to do a sound check for the casters, which technically means like you don't check any of the audio for the boxes, which routes all of the audio.
He just didn't want to. Like, isn't he contracted? He has a job.
He was just like, no, it'll be fine.
Okay,
it'll be all right. That was his thing. So then they obviously go into gate. This not based off. Then they do obviously, draft goes through, game one start, and then there's a pause because the sound is fucked. At least, like when it happened in the first LAN, the reason why it broke in the first LAN was just sheer unluckiness. It was actually the equipment just broke, and I'm not even kidding. Like that, you can't really do anything about that. This was completely avoidable, like start to finish. So that was what to my understanding, that pause was for. Beyond that, though, the production issues were not fantastic. As for the games themselves, I don't think anyone's super surprised that Los Ratones won. Should you guys have probably won game 3 or closed out on game 3? Yeah. I'll be honest. I was not particularly excited about this weekend because it felt like to me that the script was just going to script. And everything was going to fall in place for LR. And it kind of did. So to return back to the production stuff, it felt pretty bad throughout the weekend that a lot of things weren't really fixed. And actually, to kind of round off on this in general, if it's something you're interested in, which I know not a lot of people, people don't really like the ruddy sack tap all the time. But Don Jake did a very, very lengthy, I think, hour and a half almost analysis / kind of open video talk about how. I beg your pardon. The production was what it was. So if you're a fan of the NLC, if you're a fan of Ruddy Sack, I suggest you after this go and listen to that because it does also give a lot of insight and it's very easy to see why if you're a team owner inside the league, be very, very tilted at how things end up going. I'm not sure actually. Lights just reminded me in the chat. I'm not sure if the VOD will be up, so that sucks. But Don Jake spoke about it at length. And like the amount of issues in terms of like not really showing fandom, right? Especially for like the ultras that showed up for Ruddy, stuff like that did feel kind of bad, shit like that.
I mean, it just felt. I mean, it also just felt like the tone of the weekend was just like. I mean, obviously, Los Ratones is the favorite, right? But it's most productions that I've seen, like most successful productions that I've seen, will try to like build up the other teams to like make it interesting instead of just being like, well, Los Ratones is gonna shit on everyone, no surprise, and then you just like fuck it, and then it just like happens, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Why am I gonna watch this garbage? Like this is when you're watching, you're like, what the fuck? Like
one of the things I made a bit of a point of doing this split was actually being extra critical of LR because I felt like it was fair to hold them to a higher standard than the rest of the league. Which comically actually did lead to people thinking that like I'm some kind of LR hater or I want to see the team fail this that. I was like, no, this team is better than everyone else. I'm not going to hold them to the same standard as everyone else because they aren't everyone else. Like it's really that simple.
They just won EMEA Masters, right?
Yeah, like they also just won the EMEA Masters, which is not actually a small feat. Like, that is actually impressive. Like, running a train on the NLC, you know, except for you guys, I guess, any bunch of half X LEC players and a prodigy, I guess, in the Baus can do it. But EMEA Masters was actually the good thing to do, or the impressive thing to do. But yeah, it felt like I was always the counterweight with the LR stuff, and I agree. It did feel like the tone was always, "Hey, LR are just gonna win," and I'm not particularly pleased with how I think the weighting of the analysis. But I still think at the end of the day, like, the weighting of the analysis still needs to be like, "Hey, build a picture of how the underdog team wins," right? And I don't even think, like, on a bare bones level, we really got enough of that.
Yes, I wish there was more of that from production. I wish there was a little bit more of that from the storytelling. And but either way, it was a weekend that happened. And yeah, good luck to the Rats as they move on over to EMEA Masters. Dom, this then leads you guys to off-season moves. Are we looking at off-season moves? What's the game plan here? It feels very different than last year or last.
I mean, we just have to see like who actually wants to keep on playing, because I mean, being an NLC, like I don't know if people notice, but like none of the players really get paid. I'm pretty sure there's no players that get paid like in all of it. So it's like it's a big investment to it's a big investment to be part of a team, and then also it's like streaming scrims only really works for Los Ratones, and even Los Ratones, their like viewership went massively down streaming scrims. Like this split, you know, like it's kind of one of those things where like over time people are just kind of over it. So like most people are like not only are they investing so much time, they're also losing viewership as time goes on, right? So it's not an easy sell. I mean, a lot of the hope is that you're actually spending the time improving. You want to have like this goal of moving up to like, you know, either higher level ERLs or just, you know, bettering your own skills, stuff like that. So we just have to see like who actually wants to stay, like who is down to run it back, and then from there we'll see what we're able to do to like make the most competitive team possible. That's just how it goes.
Content idea. What if you guys did joint? Because like they do this in preseason for football, you know this. What if you guys did joint like VOD review? And it's one of those things where you're improving the league, improving the players while they are solidifying their understanding of the game, and then you're improving NLC as a whole. I mean, that's the selling point.
Like in
something different.
Like for like LPL and LCK games? For what?
Or against scrims against each other. Be like, oh, well, this is what we thought. Is this what you intended? No, we did this. This is what we intended. And then be like, maybe this was better. I don't know.
I mean, they VOD review every game, but I mean, I don't know.
Together. I mean, like as 10 and like a coaching staff of like, I guess it would be.
Oh, you mean like us and Los Ratones?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't think
trying to think of like
really,
different ideas.
I think Los Ratones is doing fine, you know? I don't think that they're like trying to make content with other people, really.
Well, there we go. I tried. We'll see what happens here. But again, a decent and good experience for the players and fans that got to head on over to the LAN of Ruddy Sack for the spring season. We'll see what happens in the summer. All right. Well, with that, before we dive into some of the major regions here, it's time to remind you about our friends over at Mando, who have created the whole body deodorant that makes it safe anywhere on the body, including pits, balls, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, and feet. And it was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, and it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando's deodorant product options include the solid deodorant stick and the spray deodorant, which is aluminum-free and ideal for hard-to-reach places. It was clinically proven through a study to control odor better than shower with the soap alone. 12 hours after the shower using some of their products, the average man's grundle was a 5 out of 10. However, with Mando, the average grundle odor is less than 0. It's actually, sorry, it's just 0. 0 out of 10. If you want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now, you can find them at Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. And for brand new starters or brand new customers, Mando Starter Pack is perfect for y'all. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer to our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code SPIKE. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack using the code SPIKE at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support the show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. We just got a brand new shipment here in Korea, and I was with Wolf when we did the Monty Wolf show, and we got to like share it amongst ourselves. It was super awesome. Thanks to our friends over at Mando, keeping us clean on the road. All right, let's move on to this week's fraud alert. We don't have too many segments, y'all, but we got a lot of content because we got a lot of frauds this week. This week's fraud alert, one from each region: JDG, 100 Thieves, Dplus Kia, and that's right, the El Clasico might just never be the same again because Fnatic just can't do it. All right, JDG, 100 Thieves, Dplus, and Fnatic. Let's get to it. Fraud alert. All right, Jamada, I'm gonna let you pick. Which one are we doing first?
I feel like we normally start with the Eastern region, so I'm gonna slam an A in here first. Actually, I'm not even gonna do Europe. I'm gonna do 100 Thieves because my oh my, not only did they manage to break the top 4, bottom 4 narrative, they just look like hot shit doing it as well. Man, like, where do you even start? To be honest, like, I think the fact of the matter is, for most of this year, is that they seemingly have just not really improved that much. I don't think their ceiling has gotten higher, and I certainly don't think their floor has gotten higher either. And a lot of their issues just remain very, very present. It's they just run around like fucking headless chickens post 20 minutes. Like their mid game onwards is really horrendous. And this series was mostly a very good case study. This game 1 really is the big case study of it, right? I can't remember what the peak of their gold lead is. Dom, you have a much better memory than I, so maybe you do. I think it was just shy of 10,000, right?
Like it was something like that.
Yeah. And like,
it's unlosable. That's what matters.
It was a ridiculously unlosable game state. Like, yeah, any other top 4 team would close out that game. Almost 100 times out of 100, in my opinion. And I will say, fair play to Shopify. I think their macro to come back into the game was pretty intelligent. I like their mid-game plays. I think especially there was one sequence where they like overloaded bot with 4 or 5 people just straight up on the tier 1 tower or the tier 2 tower, and it kept them in the game, like it kept them relevant. And especially individually, I want to really highlight Fudge. The Gnar game was really, really strong. Shout out him. I want to give Shopify their flowers before I continue to dunk on 100 Thieves, because beyond that, 100 Thieves just looked fucking limp for the rest of the series. I don't know if it was like one of those things where, you know, you lose a game so stupidly that you should win, that then you're kind of just, you're mentally a bit gone for the rest of the series. But game 2, start to finish, they were basically out skirmished and out macroed everywhere. I don't actually know if they won a skirmish off the top of my head in that game 2. Like, it was just a complete stomp. And then game 3, I think it's easy to point out, like, oh, the draft, they have Riven, da-da-da-da-da. But it's like aspects of this draft where it's like, do they even understand the win cons and the game state that they're in to not throw themselves at the enemy team when they're down several thousand gold? And yeah, they just seem, again, like they haven't really improved since the start of the year. Their discipline is just, they might be one of the most, if not the most undisciplined team in the league, to be honest with you. I don't know, they just love to shit sling. And the idea of like, hey, we have Smolder in game 3, guys, maybe let's cross map. Maybe let's not fight every single objective. But what if we did? You know, like, what if we just went in and then just fucking 4K gold deficit at Third Dragon? That sounds like a great idea. So yeah, 100 Thieves, they just tickle me in a way that not many other teams for some reason have in a long time. Because they should be half decent. They should be like pushing and constantly testing the other top 3 teams. But throughout this year, as the year's gone on, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse because the teams around them have gotten better, and seemingly I don't think they've really done much to improve. Despite I think individually, players like River and Quid still performing relatively well. Holistically as a team, their issues just still blatantly remain. For me on the fraud alert, I think this has to kind of get slammed as like an 8.5, like minimum to me. We're 6 months into the year and they've just kind of stayed the same.
So to me, Dom, I feel like they're the coin that kept flipping heads. Very much what we say about like KT, but KT ends up going back to equilibrium, whereas like 100 Thieves was landing heads a lot. They're handing heads a lot, and throughout the season, you were saying this team can kind of beat anyone, but they just don't feel so solid. What did you make of it?
I mean, to be honest, it's not really surprising that they don't ever do well because, I mean, they just don't practice well at all. Like, they just scrim like shit constantly. And it always felt like, so they're actually 2-0 versus us on stage. We played 2 single best of ones that we lost both. But like, those are just shocking. Like when we watch them practice, it's like, surely we're not going to fucking lose this team in this split. Like, surely if we play them in playoffs, it's a fucking free win. Because they don't actually like take practice very seriously. I mean, maybe they do and they just suck, but it feels like they kind of just like run it. They're always the team that's kind of like running it in practice, and then it's like, but like it doesn't matter, like scrims or whatever. Like on stage, we'll get it together. They always had this vibe about them, but then they just like don't get it together on stage. So I don't know. It always felt like it was a matter of time before they just, you know, devolved into this shit and just became terrible. And honestly, like I like seeing that Shopify was able to beat them personally. Like I like that Shopify, a team that's like been pretty solid in scrims, like they've like been improving. I like that they were able to actually like get it together and take a win, because it's been one of those things where it just felt like they couldn't keep getting away with it. You know, like when I'm watching this shit, I'm like, they can't keep on winning like this. Like they have to improve or something fucking needs to happen. But there's no way that they could just show up and be like this terrible in every single scrim block and then end up just winning, fucking getting top 2 in LCS. It just seems like so unreal. So I think it's a deserved failure.
Jamada was giving his flowers to Shopify, and I felt like, again, Fudge Palafox was performing above expectation, especially after last week. You know, the not knowing, forgetting that QSS doesn't remove Mordecai's ult, and then all the tweets being like, I remember seeing a tweet saying, "Leave the game before the game leaves you," and there really wasn't too much defense of that. And then Palafox comes out, gets a penta, you know, on Victor or whatever, but like he had a competent series. How much of it is Shopify doing well, and how much of it was 100 Thieves just fucking fumbling?
I mean, for me, when I'm watching it, it seems like 100 Thieves definitely did tilt and start playing worse throughout the series, but I do just believe Shopify is a better team. Like going into the series, I had Shopify winning. Like I told Jat this. Jat told me, he's like, it's 3-0 100 Thieves, and I'm like, I think Shopify is actually going to win. So we had this discourse before. Like, obviously, I have the information because we scrim both teams, but it just feels like, I don't know, like, you've got to like develop something. And it felt like before 100 Thieves had this like good identity, I guess, when it came to like, oh, they're really good at fighting. But then they like became worse at fighting and they still didn't develop anything else. So it didn't feel like they're actually progressing in any way that's going to be like worrying or something on stage. So yeah, I don't know. Like it just is what it is. Like that's just 100 Thieves level and Shopify's level right now. I think that it was pretty accurate. And I mean, you saw how 100 Thieves even sees the game. By game 3, they're like, fuck it. I mean, we can't play anything meta. Like, we're just not good enough to win a game meta. We have to go full fucking, you know, Fiesta. We have to go full just comfort, Smolder for FBI, Rivet. Like, just think about that. Rivet and Smolder. They picked Smolder Alistar into a fucking like Nico lane. Like that shit is impossible, bro. Like you picked Smolder Alistar into like fucking Varus Nico. How could you ever play the lane? Like how could you ever play? And the only way they could play that game is just by perma swapping. But then they have Riven, which is one of the worst champions that could ever exist in a fucking perma swap game. Like if you're perma swapping, you want to have a fucking Scion on your team, or you want to have a Yorick on your team in some cases. If Yorick is able to like 1v2 versus the champions that you're actually like playing against. You definitely don't want to send a level 5 Riven down into a lane where there's a fucking Varus and Nico like dry humping your fucking turret. I'll tell you that for sure. So yeah, it is it just is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, to hammer home that macro point too, I think they lost about 2,000 gold throughout the course of like the 3 swaps or however many however many swaps ended up being. Like they lost a lot of gold off that, and like I don't know. They just seem shagged as a team. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that team just fucking like I don't know, bro. They can't keep getting away with it forever.
But so from last year, I guess at Worlds, and then even going actually it's mostly from last year, it was very easy to point to, hey, Ayla's not very good or not in very good form. Yeah. This time, where do you kind of point the focus to in terms of 100 Thieves issues?
People just understand who they're playing against now. They're like, all right, don't give a free game for like River and Quid. And if those guys don't have a free game, then no one's fucking carrying this shit. You know, like no one is going to fucking step up and carry this shit if it's not those guys carrying. So people have just accepted that. That's how they draft. They try to make sure that they're limiting as much as they can what the other players are capable of in the game, and then they just play from there. They just win from there. So yeah, I mean that's all it is. People just know who they're playing against now, where it felt like before they didn't really know what like the strengths of these of this team really was. And now people hone in on not giving Quid melee champions. They hone in on not giving River like really good angles to play his champions that he's good at. And you know, you just want to let the other players try to beat you, and most of the time they won't. And I think the other thing is that the other thing that I think is actually pretty important to note is that like they have like really big drafting problems. Like for example, they still can't play Rumble. Like they just can't play Rumble at all. Like they just don't play the champion, which is crazy to me. It's like, how can you just not play Rumble? Like this shit has been OP for like how much time now, and we just can't play Rumble. And it's like,
and actually, I want to say on that point, sorry to cut in, Dom, but it's like G2 can't do the same thing. We're probably not going to talk about G2 for the most of today. G2 don't really play Rumble, so at the very least, it's like with that drafting issue, BB decided to start playing really weird shit top, right? Like Warwick as an example, to like at the very least draw more bans towards that, usually like in second phase as opposed to first phase, but like maybe later into Fearless series, that's like a first phase ban or whatever. But Sniper, he doesn't like, he plays weird picks, but like they're not really, it's like the fucking old school weird stuff. It's like, yeah, Riven's weird, but Riven's a shit competitive champ in almost every scenario where it's probably going to end up being drafted for 100 Thieves anyway, right? Same thing for Irelia. It's like when he pulled Irelia versus Fudge a few weeks ago as well. I think it was in the best of 3, where it's like, cool, he could throw out these curveballs, but they're not really curveballs. Plus, you have to dump 1,000,001 resources into them for them to be useful most of the time, which is not really what you want to be doing in comp most days in this meta anymore. Like you want to be focusing on like mid prior into bot. Like you want to play like the most fucking like Route 1 League of Legends possible 8.5 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, and giving like an overload of resources to those kind of champs just isn't good. Like it's just not good for the map. You get, I mean, also way too much.
If you look at what he plays, it's like he can't play Mbessa. Cassante got nerfed, which is one of the things that he was playing a lot of before, so he can't play Cassante really anymore. He's not a huge Scion player. Like he wants to be playing things like Aatrox and Jax, but those angles are few and far between. So it's like Sniper's champion pool. Like he just doesn't have a champion pool right now. There's no Camille angles anymore. Like that was one of the champions he liked to play. I mean, he just doesn't have anything that is actually like good for most of the games. So, I mean, it's not good. Like they just don't have anything to build off of topside. And then Quinn and River are simply playing worse too.
That as well. I love Sniper for the player that he is, right? But I think it's about time. Analytically, to me, it's like it's about time we start like growing up a little bit, nephew. You know, like we've got to start playing the role champs now. Like you've had your fun. Because if you don't, like, bro, also like careers are fickle. You could end up like in a situation like this, like just to be real for a second, like you could 100% end up in a situation like this where you have a really niche champion pool, and then the champion pool falls out of meta, and then you start playing like shit because you can't really play the meta champions, and then you end up teamless, and then you just never end up on a team again. That is a that is a really realistic scenario to end up in by the end of the year or by the
literally happened to his brother.
So, like, yeah, he really he's got to lock in. He's got what, like 2 months of off time now, or like sorry, not 2, like a month and a bit with the internationals and everything. Bro, go learn Scion. Go learn all of these fucking these champs that your team needs. Like it's time, bro. Like we have to grow up. We've got to do the maturing in this little bit of downtime, because otherwise I think if that part of their game isn't fixed, I think it's subtly a very big portion of their issues when it comes to like losing in the mid game. Like I think it's a holistic team thing too, but I think especially when like backs are up against the wall, they seem to just have this tendency to like throw Sniper a bone and give him these champs, and it just never works. And I think if that at the very least is gone, then like, hey, if their backs are up against the wall, then we're not watching a pointless game 3 or a pointless like game 5 because they felt inclined to give him the solo queue pick, you know?
Yeah, Chat's making a point here of being like, well, the champs that he doesn't know and the ones that are in the meta aren't hard to learn, and we're not talking about learning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like people just don't understand like how it is to progress as a player. Like, there's so much to. It's not like he can go into like he goes into a game and he's like, how do I like summon the Ornal? Like, it's not some fucking noob shit like that. It's like understanding like which waves to trade on, like which waves to drop on side lane, like how to elegantly get through a lane. It's like all this type of stuff.
Like, what is my level 4 against their level 4 trade pattern? It's that kind of thing, and this is why, and this took me a while to understand, this is why you can't, like when we had academy teams over for LCS, this is why we couldn't scrim our own academy team at Golden Guardians, because then we were getting false data on what would actually work in scrims, which means, and this is why scrims are important, because then you have to use your scrim time to learn these things for each individual while also teaching the macro part of the game. And I think his macro part has gotten better. I mean, that's been a focus of 100 Thieves. However, now the champs that he learned it on aren't there. So I don't think it's just as simple as like go play. I mean,
your macro is also different based on every champion you play, right? Like your macro with Yorick is going to be different than your macro with Shen, which is going to be different than your macro with Renekton, which is going to be different from your macro with Gnar. It's like all about like you being able to understand all like the details of how your champion interacts with the game. And then also just being able to not only understand like how your ideal game looks, but how does your teammates' ideal game look? And then how do you actually make their game better when you actually have time, or when you have like positions in the game where you can actually affect what they're doing. It's like all this type of stuff. So it's not as easy as people try to make it seem. Like, yeah. I mean, and a lot of times, the big thing about being a pro player, I would say, is there's just a lot of things that some players, when you talk to them, they're just naturally not aware of. Like, a lot of players have to learn tempo. Like, they actually have, like, they don't feel it in the game. Like, really good players, even if they don't know the concept of tempo and they don't know exactly like how that works, they just feel like, I should just base now. Like, I'm overstaying here. Like, they just feel that shit. But some players just don't feel it. And I think that's a huge determining factor of like how good a pro is going to be. It's not just like how teachable or how teachable they are as a player. It's going to be like, can they recognize this stuff inherently, so that you don't have to go like concept by concept, because there's too much to learn. If for a full split you're trying to teach every little thing and you only have 5-6 scrim games a day, there's only so much time to actually teach them outside of those games. Like, you actually have to have some natural capabilities of, you know, feeling this stuff within the game. And some players are really intuitive with how with just the game in general, and some players, the way that they climb is by playing in a way that's not conducive to a competitive game. Like, it's not super thought oriented. It's a lot about just skill checking your opponent frequently. Like, all of this type of stuff is really important.
Yeah. I just saw that comment, and I just I knew we would align on this, and I just wanted to clarify that one a little bit. I don't think it's time to turn the page on Sniper, but I like the way that you put it there, Jamada. It's time to grow up and now be a pro and start learning some of these champs and mastering these champs so that the team can function, especially when the back's against the wall and you can start the reverse sweep. That was a lot about 100 Thieves. We got their rating. Oh, Dom, what was your rating for him?
I'll give them like a... The only reason I'll give them a little bit of a lower rating is because I actually just knew that they were frauds the whole time. Yeah. You know, like I actually just like hated them this whole time. So for me, I'll give them like I'll give them like a 7.5 out of 10. Like,
okay. That was still more than what I thought you were going to give them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they're frauds, but it's like, I knew they were frauds the whole time. It's kind of the same thing that we're going to get to when we do Fnatic right now. Like, I'm just not getting got by Fnatic anymore. I go into the series Fnatic versus KC. I'm like, yeah, it's a 3-0. Like, they're just going to lose every fucking game. Like, I'm not getting tricked by these teams anymore.
Yeah. No, go ahead. People want to hear it. They want to know. Like, Fnatic,
this fucking
they were the higher seed. They finally had solved the issues in the mid lane. Razork Humanoid finally worked. Oscar Ridden was good.
I can't stand this fucking team, man. I mean, they just do the same thing all the time. And the worst part is like now the way that they're playing the game, it's actually hilarious. If you go and watch their game 1 where they're playing into Draven, so Kalist commits a war crime under the turret, loses both summoners at level 2 in a Draven lane. Holy fuck, the game is so brutal. Like, you lose summoners for free to Mickey outplaying him in a Draven lane. And instead of the mentality being like, oh, this guy fucked up really bad, we're going to shit on this guy now, they just start playing the swap game because they have a Scion. That was probably their game plan before the game, is like, oh, we have a Scion, we want to just perma swap, because obviously Jace is a champion that struggles in the lane swap if you just are catching waves. Like, there's not really a time where Jace can exist that easily into champions like Kalista and Rel, because if he ever walks up, he's just going to lose like half of his HP. He can like farm from range, but he's going to drop CS, whereas Sion's just going to enjoy playing a lane where you're just chilling and you're just playing versus a fucking Draven who can't really do damage to you. Just sit under your turret and you're going to exist, right? And you can also dive the Jace, etc. But the fact that Kalista could just lose his flash and he's playing versus Pantheon, Rel, Kalista, and like there's no attempt to kill him. Like, there's nothing that they do to try to actually punish this guy having no flash for 5 minutes. How? Like, Draven is one of the most vulnerable champions in the game. Like, it's such a vulnerable champion. Like, he doesn't have the ability to outplay you, especially when he's not paired. Like, they didn't have any peel on this team comp, by the way. They have a Wukong, which is one of the earliest, weakest early game champions in the game. It's fucking dog shit early. They have a Wukong. They have a Leona, or they had some engaged support. Maybe it was Nautilus. It was Nautilus, actually. But, like, they have an engaged support that can't peel for the Draven. This guy should be eating Pantheon ults to the head, and he should just be dead on cooldown if he doesn't have a good lane phase. But they just play the game in, like, some weird way where they're trying to be so fucking smart now, where they're like, oh, man, like, oh, we went into the game, we're going to perma swap. Yeah, like, we'll just abuse them with perma swapping. Like, they won't know what to do about this. It's like, there's no audible. This guy just lost flash at level 2. There's no audible. There's no like Pantheon. I'm just going to flash on him. He's just dead. There's none of that. Like, Wukong, Nautilus, Draven with no flash on the Draven. If you full send on the Draven, Wukong's not doing shit. Like, Wukong is not doing anything there. Also, I mean, Upset misplayed the kill, because the way Mickey played it, it was actually just a kill in lane if Upset hopped forward. But then just the way that they played the games, and especially Razork, man. Like, Razork, I'm so tired of Razork at this point. Like, he's just so fucking bad under pressure. There's no other way to say it. I mean, he's very clearly a choker. And it's just something that I feel like he will never improve. Like, I just can't see him winning a title at this point. What's going to happen where he's going to play better in these games? He needs to go down, play some fucking, like, play with a worse team, you know, level up from there, just get some confidence back, and then maybe he could do something down the line. But for me, I'm just out on this team, man. I just don't believe in them at all. They're just a pathetic team. There's no other way to say it. Just pathetic team.
Dog agrees. I mean, I think the sentiment from the start of the year really was, if they didn't win in winter, would they really win for the rest of the year? You know, like, would the ramp time for KC and G2 like be enough? And they still look shit then, and they still choked now. And it's just like every opportunity that Fnatic have to like kind of be a good team or put themselves in a good position, it just feels like they just blatantly ignore it. And I even think about like the game 2, and I don't know what you guys think about the game 2 draft, specifically Dom, because I think he's more likely to remember it. But I really fucking hated the Zyra Khan 4-5.
Do you remember it, dGon? Let's see. Do you remember the game 2 draft?
No.
No.
Of course. Why'd you make that face then? Of course I'm more likely to remember it.
Because you didn't have to fucking say that.
But like I really hated the Zyra Khan 4-5. And I actually
it's that, but also, I mean, it's not a great Skarner game, but Razork made that shit look fucking unplayable. And the way that they took the fights, it's like, we're level 5 on Rakan. We're fighting like to the fucking death. The Skarner just goes in, dies. You have the fucking the Zyra Rakan is fighting it on the top side, and Humanoid was ass this game. Like Humanoid is so bad in this game. Like, please just don't let him play Rise.
He was just getting blasted. But you know, like, do you want to know something kind of funny? And maybe I'm just wrong on this read, but I feel like it would have helped them like nullify Kalista and Targamas in lane and like in mid lane. I actually think this was the MF Lulu game compared to the last split. Like, unironically, I kind of think it was. I feel like it would have at the very least helped them get prior around the map a little bit more. It would have helped them dictate the pace of the game a bit easier. Whereas Zyra Khan is like, you kind of have to be reactive. There's nothing like explicitly that your Zyra ulting to make like the KC draft feel really, really horrible, you know? Plus, you're basically playing into 2 poke champs, like Lucian, and like Lucian's play pattern when he's on mid lane is more akin to a poke champ, right? And then obviously Zoe is Zoe. So it just felt really, really fucking bad. And then throughout the game anyway, they just got blasted. It didn't really matter where they went.
Yeah, I mean, they also draft. I mean, Skarner. They keep on nerfing Skarner over and over again, and essentially at this point, most of his damage comes from his passive, right? Like that's like all of his damage. He doesn't do physical damage. Every other team in the world, by the way, when they play Rise, they're trying to draft it with an AD jungler. They're playing they're even going into like the fucking Jarvan tier, Lee Sin tier, Viego. They're looking for whatever AD jungler that this Rise is going to enable. And then Fnatic's like, yeah, you know, let's go Rumble, and we're going to have a Rise. And on top of that, we're also going to have a Skarner. And we're just going to leave fucking Galio up. I wonder what the fuck will happen. And then they just end up losing. It's like, okay, I mean, this couldn't have been solved like beforehand. Like, I feel like this is just a draft where you'd never even want to play in the first place. So I'm just done with Fnatic, man. I just hate them so much. Like, there's something about it that is so frustrating. There is something about it that is so insanely frustrating.
Jamada, before you joined, this was the number 1 team that Monty used to hate. He used to hate fucking the Razork humanoid combo. They were like
they're so hateable.
Cranky couple,
they're so insanely hateable.
Break up. It was a thing. And now Dom's
inherited that a little bit. Yeah.
No, I mean I went on a fucking insane rant when Fnatic lost that 3-0 in summer. The 3-0 in summer playoffs, not the summer finals, the summer season playoffs, because LEC just has the worst format of all time. But anyways, that one is the one that really fucking broke me. That was the one where I'm like, nah, I hate you guys. Like, I just do hate you guys. There's nothing else for me to say. I'm not going to try to deny it anymore. I'm going to come out in the open and admit I am a fucking hater. Like, it's impossible to be that bad, man. Like, it's impossible to be that bad. You have to be trying to be that bad to throw multiple, like, 8 to 10K gold leads. And before, it felt like it was mainly a Noah problem. Razor played fine in some of those early games, but he would, as soon as the throw would start, he'd be like, yep, game's over. Hands up. Time to fucking throw. So now it's like he's just not doing anything. Like Razor's whole thing is supposed to be aggression. Like he's not better throughout the game than Yike, right? Like his advantage over Yike is supposed to be early game. Like, and him making like more plays around the map. And, you know, he's playing Pantheon. I think he ulted like 1 time in the first 20 minutes of the game. The Skarner game was also, he's just walking up in front of the whole enemy team, like just getting hit with CC. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, what the fuck is going on here, man? It's just so hard to watch. I don't want to watch them play anymore.
Don't forget as well, there was the game 3 where Razork was like pre 10-minute eclipse, and they were fighting on grubs, and then they got as the Fury, and then they got wiped top, and it's like fantastic. Like basically, majority of our leaders just fucked them gone. And then I want to say they fought at the next dragon. They even had like I think Humanoid did get really chunked whilst he did it, but he killed Vladdy on the side lane.
Yeah.
And then they still managed to get completely fucked because Razork was like 2 screens away from anyone else. And it's just like, guys, get your shit together. And the worst part for me with Fnatic now is, we're 2 splits done. You have summer and then like season finals, which they will likely attend. But the winner was their highest chance realistically to win a title this year. They haven't done it in spring. It's only likely going to get harder throughout the year. So like as an organization now, like when you look at the roster, like do we start to consider end of year? I don't know when their contracts are up, but like you've rebuilt everyone but Humanoid and Razork. They're the only 2 pieces remaining, right? I said this exact same shit about Rogue, right? With Freddy and Larson being like the only 2 pieces that never left the organization, and they just looked philosophically the same. Fnatic have remained the same 4 years with these with this mid jungle now, and it really makes me wonder when they're going to push the big red button and actually just like top to bottom rebuild, or at the very least scoop out Razork and Humanoid, because it seems like those are the only 2 pieces you could feasibly change to expect large changes in how they actually play, because they've changed coaching staff, they've changed bot, they've changed top.
Contract check. One of these 2 is up at the end of the year. Who is it?
Isn't it Razork?
I want to say it's Razork. Yeah.
It's Humanoid. Humanoid is up in 2025. Razork is through 2026, along with Oscarinin and Mickey. Upset gets to cash in on being MVP. So we'll see what happens there. Because again, the contract laws in Europe a little different, a little harder to move on without it being such a big hit, I think.
German workforce, baby.
Yeah. Give me your scores here. Since I brought up the history of the hating, because we're kind of getting meta with some of these teams that show up in Throttle.
I mean, I felt like after the G2 series, these motherfuckers were never going to make it. So, like, contrary to like 100 Thieves, I think you could have actually put low, basically based on what Dom said about like having inside info and stuff. I feel kind of the same way, but after watching the Fnatic series, watching the G2 series. So to me, this was almost expected. But 3-0 was fucking crazy. It's a 7, but it's like, it's low because after watching G2, I felt like the loss was it was preordained. But in this manner, I never would have thought it. I would have thought at least like 1 competitive game, at least. But it just never even came to fruition, man. Like, it was just sad.
It was pathetic. It was really pathetic. Like, you can see as the games go on, them just become more and more pussy to the point where it's like, yeah, going into game 3, doesn't matter what KC draft. I feel like KC after game 2 would have beat them like 100-0. Like, legitimately, I feel like they could just actually never win after that point. Like, and I don't even think that KC like played bad at all. Like, I do think KC is just a straight up better team, but it's more just like the lack of like competitive nature, like they're just so uncompetitive the way they play the game. It's just crazy to watch. It's like, bro, like it's just like you don't have any like bone in your body where you're like, fuck this, like I'm gonna fucking take the fucking rock and I'm just gonna get this shit done. Lock me Lee Sin, I'm about to go off. Block me Viego, like give me some shit. Like I'm gonna compete. There was none of that. Zero competitiveness.
God. I just came up with the wild theory, but it doesn't. That's the type of person that you just described is not this person anymore. Be like, who's left? Someone in chat was like, who would you get? And I said, well, Casey found Vladdy, so like it is possible. But if you were to get someone who's European, retired, to come be the
don't say Yankos.
I wasn't gonna say Yankos. No, I was going mid lane. Yeah. But it wouldn't work because he's not that person anymore. He's not that good anymore and doesn't play League at all, from what I understand. I would be like, what if Fnatic Bjergsen is the final swan song of just him coming back, just fitting into a team, turning Razork to his puppy and just being like, you're just going to sit right here for me so I can go ahead and do my thing, get to late game and carry the game. Boom. Done.
Maybe if it was
people were thinking perks. I wasn't going perks. Jizuke? I don't know. Like we're going all these names that are way past. But either way, Fnatic, they're pretty fraudulent this go around as well. Who would you like to see there? Actually, no, we won't say that. It's still a humanoid spot. According to the rankings,
I don't know. I don't even know who's available in Europe. Like, I don't pay enough attention. Get fucking my boy Ping in there. Fuck it.
Get Fuming going.
Yep.
Fuming. Fnatic Fuming. Hell yeah. All right, let's go next. Let's do Dplus. Dplus, they fall flat here in the tiebreaker. Don't make it out here against KT. It goes with the same fucking script. They dominate game 1. Lucid just out jungles Cuz in the Cuz meta.
Yep.
And they just look great. In game 2,
that was a horrible draft from KT though. Like, you want to play Wukong into a Poppy
Wukong,
Talia? Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Unplayable.
We had move your champion one time.
We had Cuz do the interview in English with us afterwards, and we asked about, hey, what did you learn since they have to play again for the playoff road to MSI? And he said, well, we learned something in game 1, but I can't really tell you what it is, but we definitely learned something in game 1 we're not going to do again. And afterwards we're like, yeah, it was obviously the draft. That was pretty shit. And then game 2 and 3, Dplus just lose heartbreakingly. Man, that game 3 was back and forth, but they don't get it done. And now they're going to be in the lower group in the LCK's version of Nirvana. They are going to be playing and getting reps against Breon and DNF and DRX.
Somebody from LCK, tell me how it makes sense that Damwon can still win MSI and then have to go back into the lower group when they get back to LCK. Like, how is it not determined based off this playoff format? Like, why wouldn't the first best of 5 not determine it?
I don't know. I think they wanted to make I think they just wanted to fit in the full gauntlet, since they're not going to use gauntlet for the end of the year, since it's one long season here in the LCK. And the gauntlet always has 6 teams, or like the 6th seed. So they fit the 6th seed in with the other like Rise and Legend group, I guess, stakes that happens in rounds 1 and 2. So I think it's weird that they're playing twice back and forth, but all the tiebreakers ended up being exactly equal to the point where they needed to have a tiebreaker set. So
yeah, I mean, it just feels like it should be like the series that decides it. In my mind, that's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, like, maybe. I think that would have been now I understand what you're saying now. So they finished the season. I think the worry would be like, what if the 6th place team was like 8-10 and the 5th place team was 10-8, and it was like a big discrepancy, and then they play a series, and because they won that one series, then the 5th place team gets punished and then has to go into the DNF group. I think that's probably the thinking, but yeah. Either way, Dplus don't make it on out. KT make it in. What is the fraudulency scale when you look at this roster, when you look at this team and the expectations that they had after LCK Cup for Dplus Kia here, Dom?
I'm going to give them a 9. Like, I didn't think that they were going to be this bad. I thought they were going to at least be top 5. Like, they can't actually just be consistently worse than teams like Nong. Like, they're just actually a worse team than Nongshim, right? Like, just objectively, they're a worse team than Nongshim. They're objectively a worse team than KT. Like, T1 is still better than them. Hanwha Life Genji, not even close. And the thing that's really frustrating about watching Damwon specifically is just, like, how un-Korean they are. You're watching LCK and it's like, bro, you don't play anything like a fucking Korean team. You know, like, you don't play anything like a Korean team. There's nothing that's Korean about your gameplay. Like, they're so willing to like fight for no reason. Their macro is sus. Like, there's so many fucking things that they do bad, and it's like, this is not a Korean team that I was promised. Like, this is not the Korean league that I'm watching. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's just weird watching them play. I feel like they're just fraud. They're just insane frauds. Like, they're just insane frauds. It just is what it is.
Jamada.
dGon, remember earlier you quoted, leave the game before the game leaves you.
No! About who?
Beryl, man. It's time to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Who do you think I was gonna say? Showmaker, like, bro. At the very least, I think Showmaker can bounce back. Beryl, though, the League of Legends has left him a long time ago now. It's been gone for a minute. Yeah, I just think the fact that makes this feel bad is that they looked so good for all of 6 weeks in January and February into what they look like right now. Just that juxtaposition, man, that fucking whiplash. I'll give it an 8. I think their issues are clear. I think we've spoken them to death, right? Beryl needs to fix the fuck up, or just like go. Everything else just feels really, really bad. Hello, mate. He agrees. Doggo from the side again. Yeah, it's like an 8.5. I could arguably put it lower because I almost expected it at this point. Because I think comparatively to KT, like KT, at least it feels like they've continued to like stand on their own 2 feet when it comes to their identity and how they want to play the game, right? And that's been a slightly more consistent thing with them, whereas DK, no. It's just they've been way too over the place. So yeah, I think it's about an 8 for me as well.
I that feels low, Jamada. I agree with Dom here, just because when you go up and down that roster, and I liked how you compared
Nong Shim, you cannot let
go up and down the roster against Nong Shim. Like, okay, maybe push against Kingen, because Kingen's having a good year, and Shiwu, who's a rookie, who's really good, but a rookie. But then Lucid and Gideon, bro talent Gideon. Below that, substitute back and forth between Fisher and Calyx and Showmaker. Below that, aiming versus who the fuck knows is starting for Nongshim, Vital or Jiwoo. And then below that, Beryl and Lahans. That's, I guess I would give that one to Lahans. But that's brutal. It's just brutal. And yeah.
I mean, the way that they play is like pathetic. And then also it just feels like people are just so out of form. Like Lucid, when I watch him, he was the carry jungle guy. Like I remember when it used to be like, all right, we can't let him get Viego, we can't let him get Lilia. Like there was all these champions that you had to like always like worry about when you're playing against him because he was so competent. But now he's just a whatever player. Like he doesn't like I would think that Lucid would be like the Nefiri guy in LCK or something like that. You know, like it'd be like, oh shit, don't give this motherfucker Nefiri. He's cracked. Like he's gonna carry the game. Doesn't matter. You can give him Nefiri all you want. Like it is what it is. He's just gonna be mediocre.
Yeah. Surprising fall from grace for Dplus, especially from LCK Cup to now. And then finally, not out yet, but not good in terms of the first hurdle that they needed to run into. JDG. JDG, they dropped their series up against Weibo. They had players that were in All Pro, and it just didn't feel clean by JDG, and it just felt like Scott had an off series in the losses, and Pays was getting caught on weird timings. It just didn't feel good by JDG. What do you make of their fraudulency here, Jamada, for JDG after their first series?
I'm torn between wanting it to be high. I'm wanting it to kind of be low, because as much as I've been a very openly big JDG fan, like I felt like this year at least, like I feel like this roster on paper should just kind of work, and it's continued to like fluctuate very heavily. Like I recall, I think maybe it was 2 or 3 episodes ago when we were talking about like their end of split 2 run, whereas like the likelihood of them finishing third because their strength of schedule, like compared to BLG, was just probably a little bit too hard. And then I don't think they dropped like not even a series. Like they didn't drop an individual game. I think they 2-0'd like back to back 5 times. And it was like, okay,
10-0.
Maybe this team might be fucking good. And exactly. And in the middle of that, shit on BLG, who since have
the only time BLG's lost.
It looks like BLG might be back. I don't want to. Yeah, they are probably back. Yeah, they are back.
They're going to win LPL, bro. I see it in Bin's eyes. Like when there's certain times, like you know what I see? If you watch Bin, when he starts 1v1ing, he does this thing where he starts shaking his head. He starts going like this. Like he starts vibrating his head. When he starts shaking his head and 1v1ing you, it's over for you, bro. Like he's about to win the fucking LPL. I can see it in him, bro. Like you don't want to fucking play Bin when he's shaking his head. I'll tell you that right there. This guy is cracked.
If you see Ben shaking your head, turn the fuck around.
Yeah.
And yeah, my problem for JDG now is I just don't think they do the gauntlet because I don't see them beating AL.
Mm-hmm.
They should beat WE, right? Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Top Esports plays so many disgusting games. I'm not surprised they got 3-0'd by BLG. Like, at all. In the fucking slightest.
Yeah.
Like, that felt like the most writing on the wall series probably ever. At the very least in the last 3 weeks. Or this playoffs. And then after that, who would it be? They would have to go through either Weibo again or IG. And it's like, oh, well, now that's where shit gets tricky. Because, like, they've already proven that they can lose a series on the day to Weibo. And IG are a weird-ass team. Like, they just got pushed to 5 games versus FPX today, right? But also, it's not below the shy to randomly feel like he's back in 2018 again, right? And for Rookie to also relive those same glory days performance-wise. These teams in the lower bracket right now are way too swingy, which doesn't give me any confidence in JDG either, right? Through WE, 100%. Through Top Esports, it's probably, I would give it like a 60-40 Top Esports. And that's like being, to me, generous. And I think that's more because I hate Top Esports more than anything. This team just... I don't know. It's very similar to when they kicked CV Max halfway through. Was it May or April? I want to say it was May. It was literally 2 weeks ago, right?
No, it was like April.
Or was it April? Yeah, okay. So there was that.
A while ago.
It was a long time ago. Okay. So it was like that stretch of 3 series or so where they just looked limp.
Another limp.
Another limp.
100 limp. Now
100 limp.
Limpdong Gaming. Gotcha.
Limpdong Gaming. Mm-hmm,
Limpdong Gaming. Actually good.
Yeah, it just feels like this team doesn't want to land on an identity, right? And I've always said, if all else fails, I think you can really just hand the keys to Scout, put him on stuff like Yone, put him on stuff like Galio, and he will make shit happen on the map and for the rest of the team. And it doesn't even really feel like they want to do that, or maybe Scout doesn't want to do that. Like it's hard to really say. So yeah, for me, the fraudulency is actually low because I think Weibo are a weird ass team. They have a very long history of doing this to JDG over the last few years. So I'm going to give it like a 5 overall. I think that, Pay still has his getting caught out issues. Scout, I feel like either he's making the wrong calls for champs or he's being put on champs that I don't really like seeing him on over like other enabling picks for this kind of lineup. And the overall thing with this kind of roster, when you have like, I don't want to say high resource players, but when you have this many like strong names, is someone always eventually has to like take the short end of the stick and to steal Spawn's like janitor and CEO like mantra. Like they have to find their janitors and they have to find their CEOs. And I feel like this is the kind of roster that can be flexible with that, but they're not even really being flexible with that. They're just kind of picking and choosing at random. And it never feels like anyone is really doing what they want to be doing pretty much every other game. So I'm going to give it a 5. I think Identity is a bit weird. I think losing to Weibo, like it's bad, but I'm not surprised that Weibo did it at the same time because they are just a judge organization, especially when it comes to JDG and their head-to-heads.
Don, what'd you have? What'd you give him?
I would say like it's probably around like a 6 for me. I mean, it's bad, but then it's like JDG, they just look depressed half the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm watching them play and it just feels like one of those off series. But then when you look at Weibo, like Weibo's a team that is normally performing pretty well, like in playoffs and stuff. Like they're a team that has people that have, I mean, like they obviously went to finals last year with the majority same roster. They're a team that made top 4 of Worlds, made top 2 of Worlds with a lot of the same roster. I mean, it's just something where you expect them to perform for like no real logical reason at all. It's just like you just look at the names and you're like Tien, Xiaohu, like Breathe has been good in like the last like 8 months or so. Light, like these guys are just gonna get it together, bro. Like these guys are just gonna get it together and play pretty well. And Urha is actually a pretty decent player too. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that JDG obviously underperformed. I think it was a big shock, but they did win 10 series in a row. So I don't want to overreact to one series and put them on the same fraudulency level as like Fnatic and like 100 Thieves that have just looked bad for a while now, you know?
Yeah.
Like 100 Thieves didn't even go into playoff as a top 4 seed in LTA. Like that's really fraudulent. A team like Dom1, it's like, bro, Dom1 lost like they lost to fucking bro, man. Like they lost to fucking bro. Like there's nothing else to say. They lost to fucking bro. So like we gotta be a little bit realistic with these scores. And even though it feels bad for JDG, I don't think it's actually that bad.
Okay, bro. Giga Chad in the chat. And even then, like just going back to the series, the game 5 like skirmishes felt really close until eventually they'd lost too many in a row, and then all of a sudden it was like 7-1.
I kind of want to on that. I want to give Urha some flowers, very similarly to Fudge in the 100 Thieves series, and doubly so considering like he's the new guy, rookie, subbed in and out throughout this split. I think both his Rakan game, I think it was game 1, maybe it was game 2. And then the Bard game in game 5 were incredible. And especially the Bard game, because I think it's really easy when you get to that point in Fearless and you go, yeah, fuck it, just give me Bard, bro. And don't get me wrong, it was a fantastic Bard angle, right? But how many times do we see Bards slammed like late into series and go, fuck me, it's gonna be shit in it. Like it's not gonna be useful. Like he's gonna temper fate his own team, and like some bullshit's gonna happen where they get womboed. Like some nonsense is gonna go on. But Urha just understood. Like this might be one of the first times where I've watched a Bard player late into a series. And when I say first time, I mean first times in a while where I've watched a Bard get locked in and go, wow, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. He knows where he needs to be. He knows what he needs to, who he needs to pressure with Bardars. And that is always a thing. And I guess if you're an aspiring support player who likes Bard, bro, if you're playing against the mobile champions, just force flashes with your ult. That's all you need to do. And you've basically achieved a majority of your role. And Urha understood that condition perfectly. And it made the rest of his team and their lives a lot easier, slaughtering JDG in those skirmishes as the game went on. So yeah, shout out to Urha, because I think he's probably rookie of the split anyway. But just a really fantastic series to cap off the first round of playoffs.
All right, there you have it. Our rankings for Fraud Alert all around the world. There was someone frauding somewhere, but we had our eye on it. Who was your biggest fraud? Let us know in the chat. JDG, 100 Thieves, Dplus, or Fnatic. And for, I guess, JDG and Dplus, kind of. Their story's still not done yet. While you're there, make sure to like and subscribe and check out our friends over at Raycon. Oh, summer, more warmth, more light, more time to spend outside. Summer is a time to be out and about, enjoying every moment from sun up to sundown. But we all need a sidekick who can keep up so we can enjoy with our favorite music, podcasts, and calls in crystal clear sound all day long. And that sidekick for you is the Everyday Earbuds by Raycon. They're the perfect summer accessory, whether you're going hard at the gym, enjoying the sun and taking those work calls outside, or jamming out while barbecuing to your favorite tunes. Enjoy premium audio that goes wherever you do, and their latest model is better than ever with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that allows you to pair with 2 devices at once. And speaking of battery, Raycon's quick charge function, just 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of battery. And these earbuds also come with active noise cancellation, which is something difficult to find at an easy, accessible price point where Raycon has you covered, because they start at just half the price of other premium audio brands. They come in a bunch of different colors. You've seen me pull out my pair. It is the periwinkle, like kind of like purpley. I'm trying to find it. There it is. Boom. Periwinkly color right here. Use them over at the gym. They're awesome. They were charging. That's why I had trouble finding them. And if you're not loving your Raycons for whatever reason, they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy. No questions asked. So head on over to buyraycon.com/powerspike to get 15% off Raycon's best-selling everyday earbuds. That's 15% off their best-selling everyday earbuds only at buyraycon.com/powerspike. That's buyraycon.com/powerspike to get 15% off your order. Thanks to our friends over at Raycon. Again, just great quality and stuff that we use every day. So thanks to the homies over at Raycon. All right. We talked a lot there about fraud alert, which then sets us up perfectly for a high key, low key, no key of upset potential as we move towards the playoffs in the different regions. So we've got high key, low key, no key, the region, the likelihood of an upset. Who is high key upset? LEC, LCK, LPL, or LTA? Let's find out as we get into it. Okay. So this one, we're going to do different. Instead of being like, hey, what's our no key? And then you slot them in. I'm just going to go by league. We'll say what league it is that you think it's like high key upset or no key upset potential. And then we'll go from there. And then upset is up to interpretation. How about that? If you think that whoever is the likely winner currently, because like, let's say what Fnatic was like number 1 seed, they're out. That means it's going to be an upset in LEC no matter what. Or do you think KC is the number 1 seed? Or do you think G2 is the number 1 seed? Whatever you think it is, let's go ahead and you can justify that as we talk about that league. So let's start with the LEC. High key, low key, no key, upset potential. And Jamada, let's start with you, brother.
I think this is no key. I think G2 just have this in the bag. I don't know, bro. The rest of the teams just look really bad by comparison. And again, not to hop on the train of like, you know, because I'm always apprehensive. I was apprehensive with BLG. I'm going to be apprehensive with G2. I want to believe they're back. And they do look pretty damn back. But I just have this... Yeah, I have such little faith in the lower bracket teams right now. It's just Casey and Koi. That G2 just absolutely slammed them into the ground again. Because a lot of the issues we've spoken about with, like, let's say KC, for example, I think are still very present, right? Their early games aren't always the best, or how should I say? They're not like any leads they tend to get in the early game aren't usually by their own design, right? To me, they do well at punishing. Their early game overall isn't like fantastic. I still feel like Kalist has this lovely tendency to walk up on mid waves and die. He's actually just not fixed that. No one on the KC lineup has decided to belt him for it yet. And we're in June, and I don't know why. It even happened in game 1 of their series versus Fnatic. Like, I know we were kind of like completely smashing in Razork, but the one thing that he did was he did press R on his head at least once, and it happened to be on the mid wave, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Nope. So yeah, I think that overall, Casey still kind of feels like mostly the Kana show, and then like inshallah the rest of the team shows up with him. You know, like that's really the vibe that I get with KC, like in their most recent performances. And their team fighting is, when it comes together, it comes together. I'm not going to say it's like consistently good right now, but I would like to say when they're on form, it is certainly one of their strongest aspects of their game. As for Koi, I just don't rate these guys, man. I thought that JoJo's most recent series was fucking horrendous. Which it's funny because I remember tweeting about it, and this was versus I have bad memory. Not Fnatic. I'm gonna have to look at the bracket to help myself here. Versus G2, and he just every single time where like Koi could have had a good sequence, it felt like he was just getting either caught or like he just was somewhere he should have been, or he was mechanically fucking up. it was just like a list of one of these three things. And I think this time Vladdy is not going to give him the graces of having a bad day. I think that from what we see from Vladdy, that might have just been a one-off day. And come that lower bracket final, Vladdy's just going to have his way with him, bro. Like, it's not, I don't think it's going to be pre. If Jojo's not playing better, because it was bad. All of the laning phases out of Jojo versus G2 were not particularly pleasant. And I kind of, I want to say Koi's best performing part of their team is their bot lane. And I feel like they will probably punish Kalist and Targamas for their laning, because I don't think it's been their strong suit. So I think all in all, it leads to a no key, because I don't think any of these teams have issues. All of these teams have issues which are too big and they have not enough time to fix. And G2 have at least demonstrated to us that they kind of wipe Fnatic very easily, much like KC did. They completely destroyed MKOI, right? And even the game that they lost, they probably shouldn't have lost. So now it's like, well, the only team they haven't played in this playoffs is KC. And I think KC have just looked significantly worse, whilst G2 have looked better. So I think this is a big time low-key. I think that this should just be a G2 return to number one in the little fucking Leaguepedia golden road domestics for playoffs.
You gave us a nice dissertation there, especially up and down with the KC one. Or with the MKOI one. I was actually just, I kind of just skipped over it. I was like, can KC match up against G2? Honestly, Tom, what do you think here?
So for my low key, I would say that or actually my no key, I would say that that Gen G will definitely not lose finals. That'll be my low key. I don't think they'll lose finals.
It's pretty straightforward.
Because there's no finals. So because there's no finals, they can't lose finals, and yeah, that's just how that works.
Okay,
that's all I got.
It's format. That was a format joke, everyone. If you didn't catch that one, if you haven't seen an El Dominico stream, it's like in between like Malding over the Shy, like kind of popping off there, and the team that it's him flaming the format. It's almost like a tick.
Yeah. My formats are fucking trash. I don't know what you guys want out of me. The formats are just fucking bad everywhere. Like, some better formats. You gotta know what it is.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's go to low key then. Is there a? Well, actually, no. Like Jamada was doing it right. I was doing it based off the league. So where do you put LEC here, Dom?
So for LEC, I have them low key because I don't think it's impossible for a team like G2 to lose to KC, right? Like KC beat them in a best of 5. I think that KC had a bad best of 5, but they're kind of like ramping now. They're also going to go into it with momentum because it'll just be Koi who beat them earlier. So I don't know. I think that it's close, but for me, I would say that low key should be LEC.
All right. Let's go to LTA. LTA again, it goes back to kind of defining who is your favorite, and then will that be upset or not? Because in my opinion, favorite would be FlyQuest, right? Wouldn't FlyQuest be favorite?
Yeah.
Yep.
They would. They are.
Yep. FlyQuest would be favorite. What's the likelihood of an upset here? And Dom.
I mean, I don't know. I think FlyQuest is getting overrated by people. I don't think it's like that crazy to imagine us winning. Like we've beat them before, like it's not one of those things where like they just stomped us all year. Like we're 3-3 against them on stage, but people are acting like we don't have a chance. So I mean, I do think that they do some things better than us, but I think they also do a lot of things worse than us. So like I think if it's a slow paced game, I think generally they'll have an edge, but I think that there's no reason that it has to be a slow paced game. I think that we can play in multiple different ways, and we've also beat them in slow paced games on stage. So I'm pretty confident right now. I think things are looking up for us. So for me, I don't know if that would be like high key. I guess it would be high key by the way we're doing it. So yeah, I guess that would be my high key.
Where's our high key upsetters for the LTA? Stand up if you're a fan of Shopify or Cloud9. Or Cloud9.
Yeah.
Or Cloud9.
Yeah, yo, screw TL. Kappa.
Yeah. Kappa.
I'm in the same boat. Because I'm assuming, Dom's putting high key for LTA, right? Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. I think FlyQuest, as good as they are a team right now that feel like what's the saying? Is it the sum is greater than the parts, right? Where this is not to undervalue the individual level of the FlyQuest players, but I think as a unit, they are very, 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 very good. Whereas I feel like with C9, there are a lot of individuals who you would arguably take over FlyQuest members.
Well, not if you're doing the all
not if you're
voting.
doing All Pro, which
Yeah.
I guess we'll
It's actually all just better than us
at the end of the show. Whereas there are definitely individual members on C9 who I think you would be very remiss to not have if you were doing All Pro voting over FlyQuest members. So I think this is very high key. C9 are definitely still, to me, hot on the heels of FlyQuest. As for the other teams, I think TL probably have too many issues to iron out, but to me. And then there is obviously the question of Shopify. Do I think they're a real contender? Not really. Would it be fun? I mean, if it means that, let's say for argument's sake, Fly beat C9 in the next best of to get to finals, and then the lower bracket run is Shopify TL into C9, and then by some miracle, because I would consider it a miracle, Shopify beat C9, then I think Fly do not let a repeat of what almost happened in that series, where they probably should have got 3-0'd, but didn't get 3-0'd, happen again. And they will probably just dominate them. So I still think it's high key, but I think it is mostly like a Goku versus Jiren battle at the top between C9 and FlyQuest. And I would love to be a little bit more generous towards the other two horses here, but I just don't feel like they're at the level, be it macro, be it individual performances, that I can comfortably be like, yeah, they're in the running. I think there is a hole somewhere on both of them. For TL, it's realistically like the top side of the map, right? And then for Shopify, I think it's easy to point towards the bot lane just because like Fudge, Palafox, and Contracts are doing or have done a relatively good job as of late. So it feels like if not them, then who? Like it's just it's a deduction game at that point. So yeah, that's how I lie on that. I'm high key on the LTA. I could definitely see it not just being a FlyQuest swipe.
Yeah. Let's move on then. Boom.
I guess we gotta throw LPL in there, or do we just not do the LPL?
That's what I was gonna say. Let's move on.
Yeah,
to
that's
LPL.
what I did.
Oh yeah. Let's move on to LPL, where because I was in that transition portion because I was thinking about BLG. Like, who is the favorite? Is it BLG the favorite because they beat top
by far?
And
by
then
far.
AL okay, all right. BLG.
I mean,
the favorite.
It's like if you're watching LPL and you see that BLG is in form, you're gonna expect them to win LPL. Like that's just how it is. Like the fact that they're actually looking legit and they've been like the best team in LPL for like, a year and a half now. Or like, I mean, they were for a full year and then they fell off a little bit, but they have that aura about them when everyone is playing well on their team. They're just so much better than the other teams on an individual level that when their macro gets better as well, it's like, I just don't see the angles for the other teams. Like, how are they going to win? Like, it's so hard. It could be through specific strats. It could be through specific champions, but it's definitely not easy. It's like an uphill battle for sure.
What do you think here, Jamada?
It's hard to argue the BLG point just because of the recent history. I do weirdly, kind of contrary to how I felt throughout a lot of the year, I wonder if AL will like actually play upset or not. My big concern with AL is I don't feel like they have the grade of player to do it if BLG are on form, right? Because Yep. You're not taking Shanks over fucking Knight, right? You're not taking Flandre over Bin. You're pretty much almost anywhere except pretty much Tarzan. Because I will say, I feel like Beichuan might be an undercover agent. That guy is still, he's, I mean, I think his job is really easy and he's still making it look a little bit difficult. So that would be my only concern with BLG. And that's where I'd like look at the AL BLG series and go, I feel like AL are a very cerebral team. They're very prep heavy. They're very draft heavy. They're very game plan heavy. I wonder if they're going to go into that series with with just extreme prejudice against Beichuan and just trying to make him as useless as possible. Because I could see that being a valid strat to just try and collapse BLG. Aside from that, though, no faith in top esports like we covered earlier. I think IG and Weibo are just like they're on the day of door teams, right? And then that pretty much is what leaves JDG.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
JDG. Yeah.
I'll give it low key, just because I feel like there is still like a chance that teams like AO on top esports do make it competitive. But at the end of the day, I think BLG just they look a little bit too back. Like Bin's back in form. Knight has been playing well throughout most of the year. Honor's also like On was really innocent throughout a lot of the year too. And it kind of only leaves Elk as like the air quotes odd man out, but even he's not like frequent griefing as much as he was throughout Split 1 and like early parts of Split 2. So yeah, I have faith in AL's ability to prep and maybe make that series weird. And then like if they drop down to lower bracket finals and then went back to finals, again, I could see a world where like it's not an easy sweep for BLG, but they look like the best team in the league right now again, and that's just how it is.
Is it? I don't know. Like I just feel like we've seen this for a while, Dom, and we know that LPL playoffs is like one of the best in the best formats in all of League. I just feel like the fact that we saw BLG have that slump makes me a little worried, and the fact that we know how good these teams can be when they catch the right like momentum and they catch the right vibe on the day makes it feel like it's high low key. Like it's like middle key. It's like middle key that I think it happens. Like if I had to rank the leagues in terms of upsets, I think it goes LTA, LPL, LEC, LCK. Yeah, like I feel like it's higher than what you guys are saying, no? Just because of how good it can be, how volatile it can be.
I mean, the thing is, it's just when I look at the other teams, my biggest issue is that none of the other teams have actually looked like that good. It's not like there's some splits where LPL looks super good, and then this is a split where it's just like, it's whatever. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. So for me, it's like I've been waiting for a team to come by and actually look legit, and I feel like that's what we have now with BLG. And also just BLG is like the history too. So I mean, it's the same way, right? Like when Gen G was looking like shit at the beginning of, the winter season, as soon as like Chovy started looking like Chovy again, it's like, all right, we know this is fucking Chovy. Like we're not gonna just sit here and pretend like this guy is not just like the best player in the fucking world because he like had some like funny games at the beginning of spring or the beginning of winter. Like it's still him. He's still the GOAT. Like he just fucking, like, obviously not the literal GOAT, but he's still, when he's on form, nobody's better than him. This is what it is.
Yeah. And then finally for these two regions, just because it's a little bit more of a chase, who's the team that can make an upset for the second seed, since the two seeds go to MSI for LCK and LPO? And even for NA, you can count like Esports World Cup for the second team, for the runner-up team, but like for LCK and LPL, is there a world where T1 or Nongshim knock off Hanwha? Is there a world where I don't know, it's not top, I guess, as number 2 seed?
I mean, I think AL can get second seed easily. Like, I'm not sold on top esports at all. So for me, I'm not a big. I'm a big top esports hater. Like, I don't even think they were playing that well when they were winning every game. So now that they're not even winning every game anymore, I'm like, fuck them, bro. Fuck them. Send them out there. Like, they could just eject them out into space. I never want to hear from them again. Fuck this team. Like, I hate them so much.
Fnatic versus top esports hate off. Who is the winner in the hate off, Dom?
Oh, that in terms of the hate off, like, it depends on what type of hate. Like, let's go
international Fnatic. Like elimination game in group stages. Fnatic versus top esports.
I mean, I think Fnatic is more like Fnatic's more cringe, but I hate top esports more. That's how I feel.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. LCK likelihood of a team not making it out. Of a team top in Hanwha.
It just shouldn't happen, should it? Like, T1 don't look good enough. T1 is the bar for the rest of the other teams.
T1 is not it anymore. Everyone knows it. Man. Everyone fucking knows it, man. Everyone sees this shit and they just know that this team is done. Even the T1 fans, this is how I knew that T1 is actually cooked for the year. I was saying that T1 was not good on like these shows. And T1 ended up beating the shit out of DNF. And I had people like coming to my fucking like Twitter being like, suck it, bro. Like, we beat DNF. Like, fucking dumbass. And you said we were shit. It's like, if you're gloating over the fucking DNF win, nah, your team is trash. Like, your team is actually like, they're fucked.
I think that's why being a bro fan's pretty good.
Yeah, don't give a
fuck. Who's gonna talk shit to me for real? You know?
Yeah, it's true. It's like when I was an OMG fan. It's like, nice, your team's better than OMG. Are you fucking happy? You want me to say
you 100% know it. You 100% know it. That team was fucking fun because it didn't matter if they fucking lost. It was more awesome to see them win.
But just for a second, there's a part of your hatred for top esports. Is it rooted in Kaiser, Cream's Kaiser ult in that elimination series against EDG?
No, I don't care about that.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Because I would never forgive him for that, you know.
How they play internationally.
Yeah, all right.
It's all based on how they play internationally. Like, I see them play fucking terribly internationally, and then, you know, it's one of those things also where, like, I'm associated with LPL, right? So the second they start running it down internationally, like, what's it going to be? It's like people act like I don't say they're going to be trash every single time that they go internationally. Like, I try to warn everyone. I'm like, it's going to fucking happen again. There's some shit, guys. They're fucking bad. Like, trust me, they're going to fuck it up. And then they do terrible, and people are like, fucking, god damn, like, why are you so delusional? You thought this team was good from LPL? It's like, no. I've been saying the whole time they were fucking bad. Like, I've been trying to tell you. But people just don't want to hear it, man. They just don't want to fucking hear it.
Damn. Someone in chat saying, bro, I was a BLG fan from the Can Icon Rise era. Icon, dude. I forgot.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, BLG was a fun team back then. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but like, Zika played on BLG, bro. Like, he was a BLG fucking, he played on BLG, Kingen played on BLG. Like, they had a fucking squad back then.
Yeah, they were trying things. Remember Uzi? People forget the Uzi era of BLG. That was the thing too. All right. Okay. Well, that closes it out there on high key, low key, no key on upsets through the playoffs. All right. Last little bit here. And we'll do it real quick. Everything's on fire. It's the voting. All Pro is coming on out, and LTA has done the thing again that stresses us out. It's just, first place must have the best players. Let's get into it. It's All Pro voting. All right, Dom. Fire away. Actually, I thought you had a pretty brilliant stat-based take on Twitter when you showed, here's the matches. They won one more game than I think y'all did head-to-head. Here's the stats, and everyone is better all the way through. So let's tackle the voting, and then let's make and we can all make our LTA All-Pro.
Okay, so the voting was all 5 FlyQuest members, which to me is like absolutely insane considering you have two teams. Like we were 12-2 and then we lost to them in the we lost hard to them in the tiebreak, but we also when we played them in the best of one, we beat them hard as well, right? And it's that theoretically is the least important match that we've played the entire split, was this placement match, because it's do you play against Shopify or TL? And both our teams just 3-0'd those teams anyway, because there's a very clear top two. So you're playing in a placement match where you're also trying to figure out what do we want to show, whatever. And then people have used that placement match to extrapolate that all 5 players are better than all of our players. Because if that match didn't happen, how would the all pro voting look? Let's say that one match didn't happen. How would the all pro voting look? The only time that we've interacted with them, we beat them. How could you make an argument that Bwipo has had a better split than Thanatos? Where would the argument start? Because it's you look at Thanatos, he's been consistent in almost every game. Where Bwipo's had some horrible series. You remember the series he had versus Fudge, the best of 3 they had, where he was playing the Nidalee Dice. He's running it down, Fudge just shat on him, and the whole meme was man, he says that the coaching staff calls Fudge a bottom 3 player in the entire league. But in reality, that can still be accurate because Bwipo's bottom 2. That was the whole meme that people were going for. It's people were oh shit, Bwipo's just a bottom 2 player. It's still fine that Fudge is a bottom 3. So he played horrible in that series. Where it's what series did Thanatos play bad at? What games do you really remember where Thanatos played bad on stage this split? It's the only ones are the games that were hard losing as a team, and he's just not able to really get it going in the game. But he's had lane leads versus everyone.
Yep.
He's been super consistent throughout all the games. He's carried a bunch of games where other players were not doing well. How can you say that Thanatos is not all pro first team over Bwipo? It just doesn't make any sense, because you're supposed to be voting on the games that were played. And in the games that were played, a lot of times Bwipo didn't need to play super well, or he had a bad game and people were oh, he's running it down, but whatever, it's Bwipo. I just don't understand the idea where they can say that FlyQuest players are comprehensively all better than our players, and then also they have the coaching staff of the split. Because if all of our players are fucking worse, then we deserve the coaching staff of the split. If we're able to be competitive with that team and our players all fucking suck, holy shit, I must be the GOAT coach. I must be doing some fucking magic. So how are they the best coaching staff and the best team by far? But they only won one more game than us. We were dead tied in everything, and then they won one more fucking game than we did when we played against them. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just not logically consistent at all. The results just are horrible. And then you see it, and there's even more egregious ones, which is they said that Quid had a better split than Loki. I thought this is one of Quid's worst splits. I thought that Quid was actually bad. He's eliminated, bro. He got eliminated 5th, 6th in LTA. The worst we can get is 3rd from this position that we're in. If we lose 6 games in a row, go fucking 0-6, we still get 3rd place. And it's Quid played a better split overall than Loki. Loki had so many fucking good games. Think about the game he played versus FlyQuest, the 0 game he played versus FlyQuest, where he drifted into them with the Herald and just killed everyone. It was fuck. There's games where he looks mega Korean, and we just ignore it, and we're just there's a huge Quid bias on the LTA broadcast. I don't know why they love this guy so much. They always talk about him.
He makes flashy plays. He makes flashy plays. That's why. He makes flashy plays.
I don't even remember any flashy plays from this whole split. What flashy play? Okay, when I say flashy play from Quid, what is one play he made this split that was a flashy play that stands out to you?
I'm a feelings person, but I remember watching that being oh shit.
Exactly. There's not one play. I can remember Loki's flashy play with the Herald. What is one flashy play that comes? What's one flashy play that comes to mind from Quid this split?
I feel like there was a best of playoff series that he ended up winning player of the series, and he was the driving force all 3 games that they won, or all 2 games that they won. Let me see. I'm going to go look.
So no flashy plays come to mind.
No, not I just remember him being the driving force on why they won by far, by far. And maybe we've talked about 100 Thieves struggles, mainly through the top lane, but he persevered through all of those. I think that's what I remember about his split this season.
He's the best player on a 6th place team. He's the best player on a 6th place team. It's not like he went into God mode or really carried Like, I mean, I know playoffs isn't part of it, but it's like, I don't think he went into God mode really. I mean, they lost to fucking Shopify when he's playing against Palafox. Like, he lost, like, they didn't win. I mean, he had a good Azir game. He was like one of like the people that was playing well, but he didn't actually use his lead to like win the game. He didn't play that well in side lane. I don't know. It's just weird to me the way that the voting works in LTA. I mean, because normally I think LTA's had good voting, but the voting recently has just been pathetic. I mean, I hate most of the voting, like the player voting. It makes no sense. I'm kind of disappointed that LCK doesn't have player voting, so I could go off even harder. Because LCK is always the most egregious one. It is just like all pro first team, all the teams that were in first, all pro second team, all the teams that were second, all pro third team, all the players that were on the third team, and like one guy who mega overperformed on the fourth team. And that's your fucking all pro like every single time. It's horrible. Just fucking like, if this is how we want to do the awards, there's no point of having the awards. Like, we should just delete the awards and not talk about it. If we're just going to look at the standings, there's no value in the awards. Every time this happens, it makes the awards less and less valuable.
That was what happened over at the LCK awards when they're like, okay, here's the mid lane of the year, and it was like, okay, there should be like perfect season Chovy, right? This is perfect season Chovy, and they're like Faker. I was like, okay, bot of the year. I was like, okay, this is perfect season Pays, right? Pays the guy that carried all the way through until like the last series at Worlds. They're like Kumayushi. I was like, oh fuck. Like,
yeah, I mean, having Faker as like player of the year last year when he was like one of the biggest liabilities he had, is the 80 meta mid was so bad for Faker. That was the worst he's ever played.
Not so
his
good.
Yone was not good. His Trist was terrible. His Corki was terrible.
But Dom,
he's the GOAT.
Did Faker did you know, like,
shut up, Faker hater! Don't change this.
Look, did Chovy make a clutch play back to back?
Didn't you say you wanted Faker dead right before we went live?
Whoa!
Didn't you just rush death on him? Like, what the fuck? What does this change him? Play the recording light.
If you want Jamada's address,
recording. If you want Jamada's address, I've got it. So I can get you Jamada's address, so you can take up your gripes with him personally.
Yeah. No, dude.
How else do you think he got that last Free Nation shirt?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just stupid, isn't it? It's very, very stupid.
Let's do the LTA All Pro all over again. Jamada, why don't you go ahead and do your first team first?
My first team would be Thanatos-inspired Loki. I was very torn between Marsu and Sven. I think there's very strong arguments for both. I landed on Marsu, but even in saying Marsu, it's like I could very easily put Sven. Like, I hate you. And then I put Vulcan first. I think Vulcan was definitely the best support in the LTA for sure. But yeah, 100%, like, no matter what, Thanos and Loki, 100 times out of 100, first place.
All right, Dom, what do you got here? Everyone but inspired?
No, I would have Thanatos. I think Loki had higher highs, but he had lower lows than Quad. So I would actually have Quad. I would have Quad, Inspired, Masu, Vulcan, Thanatos. That would be my all pro.
Damn.
And Vulcan had some insane games. Like, I don't know, like, think about the Bard game he played versus TL. Like,
yeah, that
was a fucking crazy game. Like, I don't know. I think that the difference is that, like, Vulcan is a better team fighter than Busio, but Busio is better at like playing like random, really aggressive laning champions, like Nico, for example. Like, that is something that Busio is really good at. So I think that's where the distinction lies. But I think that I would put Thanatos, Vulcan, and then I would put Inspired, Quad, and Masu.
All right, boom. The rights have been wronged. We're gonna do hopefully a unofficial LCK like all pro stuff for the for Pog State. Like, I think the Global Cast is gonna do it, and I'm pretty sure Cloud Templar and Pony got together and did their own ranking of rounds 1 and 2, which I thought was really cool. And they like kind of did like, they did like their first team, second team, third team, and then they did the bottom 5 team honorable mentions, and they just picked 5 honorable mentions, which I like too, because there were some players that were contract jailed, like Berserker, who were just kind of stuck. Closer is having a very good year as well. But yeah, hopefully we'll have that and we can weigh in officially for you there. All right. that's the episode of Power Spike, y'all. That was a doozy. Small segments, or I guess small amount of segments, but long segments themselves. Dom will be covering LPL, and it's just LPL, but it's a little bit lighter of a schedule for you as the matches close on up here, Dom. Is that how that works?
Yep.
All right. Jamada, where are you going to be at?
I'm jobless as hell, man. But I'll be streaming on my personal channel a lot. I don't co-stream the games because I live on American time, and unlike Dom, I don't really.
You just don't have that dog in.
I don't have that dog in you. I've got the dog with me.
The dog's out there.
Yeah, I got the dog in me. So I tend to watch the games post and give review and breakdown on them a little bit more in an extended manner. Very akin to just actual VOD reviews, like you would get in a coaching setting. So yeah, show up there /Jamada on Twitch. That's it.
Nice. You can catch
Jamada.
Me. You can catch me over on LCK for the rest of playoffs and the road, or I guess the rest of road to MSI. And we'll be in Busan in 2 weeks. But before that, we'll have another episode of Power Spike. Again, check out the store, lastfreenation.shop. It is our limited edition t-shirts there, numbered for you. Thanks to everyone who's supported the show. It's cool to get us to that point. And until next week, take care of yourself. We'll see you next week for more Power Spike action. See ya.